So, Warner Brothers really want kids to see this upcoming Space Jam sequel featuring LeBron James. Of course they would, the main goal for them is to make money. But it feels like they lack confidence in this franchise. Just have a look at this bizarre crossover between Space Jam and Teen Titans Go.
Space Jam, everyone loves it. But some of the Teen Titans have not even heard of it.
How have you never heard of it?
Thankfully, these aliens are here to help.
We happen to own a copy on VHS.
And you're invited to join them as
Teen Titans Go! See Space Jam!
In case you didn't know, Teen Titans Go is like the biggest thing on Cartoon Network these days, so the crossover kinda makes sense, but it's such an odd choice to have the original film air basically with the commentary by Teen Titans Go and the Nerdlucks, the aliens from the original Space Jam. Even though Space Jam was huge and is the 10th highest grossing film of 1996 and is still the highest grossing basketball film of all time, with franchise overall generating $6 billion in total revenue, to a younger generation, this franchise may be unfamiliar. The main reason for the success of Space Jam was, of course, the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan himself. Because he had a huge appeal and reach across many demographics. Even though the target audience for Space Jam were children, I'm sure many parents and basketball fans went to see the movie with their kids because of Michael Jordan. He is one of those iconic figures that isn't born every day. Even if you don't know a thing about basketball, you know who Michael Jordan is. I still don't know much about basketball, but since a very early age, I still remember being aware of who Michael Jordan was. And I'm sure that was the case for every kid of the 90s. So making a film around a figure of that influence was a no-brainer. Worth mentioning that the film was being made after a strange point in Jordan's career, when he retired from basketball, played baseball and returned to basketball again. And the film has this part of his life included into the film, so to some extent the film is semi-biographical since he portrays himself. Now, how often does that happen? Now, can we say the same about LeBron James? Does he have the appeal that Jordan had? I guess the answer to that would be subjective, but it's definitely a no for me personally. Before I carry on, I want to say that I will not be going through the plots of both movies since you probably have seen the original and roughly know the plot of Space Jam 2, which most people have not seen yet, including myself. But the trailers are there, so it's pretty self-explanatory. To me, Space Jam was one of my favorite films as a kid, and I don't think I have a definitive answer as to why, but I have seen it a countless amount of times. Sometimes I used to watch it 2 times a day. I loved Space Jam. It's hard to pinpoint the reason though. Is it the great music, Michael Jordan, or Looney Tunes? I don't think I can single out a specific reason. It's probably because it's a combination of things, or maybe it was just because I was a child and I was easily impressed. Space Jam was a collaboration of many people who were very good at what they did, just like Michael was. Anything he was involved in had to be of a very high standard, from music to cast to script and execution. Of course, the film was not an Oscar nominee and had mixed reviews, but it did what it set out to do very well by being a family comedy that is entertaining and, most importantly, profitable. And the fact that Jordan was not an actor did not bother me in the slightest, especially considering the rest of the cast were the iconic characters of Looney Tunes. Danny DeVito as the villain and a cameo by Bill Murray. Though the director Joe Pytka was an odd choice in my opinion, since this was only his second and to date last feature film. He was more known for making music videos. However, Ivan Reitman was the producer on Space Jam, so I'm sure he provided Joe with as much guidance as the project needed overall. Since Ivan Reitman was quite experienced already at that point in film industry and directed the film you might have heard of, Ghostbusters. Plus, in terms of technological challenges, Space Jam was a hell of an achievement. Seeing live-action 2D and 3D animation is not something that was very common, and it still isn't, at least not in the form of a full feature film. I already mentioned the original soundtrack, but I gotta say it again, it's so damn good. In fact, it was so good that it was certified 6 times platinum and earned 2 Grammy Awards for I Believe I Can Fly. Now, the sequel to Space Jam was something that was discussed right after the success of the original. It never came to be due to Jordan declining the offer. In 2014, it was announced that Space Jam 2 is happening and LeBron James would be the star of the sequel. Was the sequel necessary without Michael Jordan being involved? I don't think so, but it happened anyway. What is the target audience? I guess children, but does LeBron have the influence to pull off those numbers that the original did? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. So far, the most attention the film got was because of that Lola Bunny situation, which was kind of funny, I gotta admit. I do not think that the existence of the sequel will do much harm or good, except for reviving yet another franchise because Hollywood has run out of original ideas. And who knows, maybe kids that will watch this film in theaters for the first time will have fond memories of Space Jam 2 when they are older, just like kids of the 90s have fond memories of the original Space Jam. Before I wrap this up, I want to point out a glaring problem that I see from these trailers alone. The film is trying to appeal to Gen Z a little too hard by throwing these pop culture references. We have Granny talking about Twitter.
Can't a lady check her Twitter?
We have Porky rapping, and I'm sure there is more where that came from. Do we really need these iconic characters talking about social media? I pray that there will be no references to TikTok, because that thing is cancer. And I mean, this approach never really works, because all these trends on social media die like within a week. Why not just focus on writing a good story? I mean, kids are naive, but they are not stupid. A person of any age will appreciate a good story. What do you think? Will the lightning strike twice for Space Jam? Will Space Jam 2 live up to the original or even be better than the original? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked the video, drop a like, subscribe if this type of content is your cup of tea, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.